Okay, everybody, and welcome to a new lab, this time on infrared sensors. And what we're going to do is that we are going to use a remote control in order to receive a couple of signals and see if we can control a servo motor. So after you have copied and pasted all the code, the startup code that we're going to use from a library, which is an example, we're going to start reading on the serial monitor what the Arduino is receiving. Okay, so before we do that, we need to install the IrRemote.h library. So remember that we should go to Sketch, then include library, and go to Manage Libraries, and we're going to look for that IrRemote library. So IrRemote, and we're going to look for it, and as you can see is the second one on the list. We're going to click on install. It's going to install the library, and after we've installed the library, I think we're going to be able to compile and upload the code. Okay, now we're going to click on verify. We're going to see if the code is compiling correctly, and after it compiles, if it's done compiling, we're going to connect our Arduino, of course, and we're going to click on upload. Okay, the upload button is going to put all this code in our Arduino, and we're going to start learning what it does. Actually, the very first part that I want you to focus on is pretty much this part where we include the library and we verify that the pin is the one that we're using. If you see on your shield, the shield is going to say that the infrared sensor is on D6. That's why I created and I changed the D6 for the pin that it's supposed to be on the shield. Okay, then it creates an IR receiver object, which is basically the object that is going to try to uncode or decode all the protocol. Remember that infrared remote controls will send a stream of zeros and ones on a 38 kilohertz frequency. The Arduino must take that stream of zeros and ones, has to decode it in order to give us some sort of information, and we have to see what it does in order to then create some conditionals for it. Okay, so basically all this is just standard. So we use all the decodes. It says what is a Chinese SAMD21. So they're just different types of protocols. Okay, we're gonna see them in the serial monitor in just a minute. Okay, then we have the void dump, which is necessary in order to kind of like generate no interruptions during the transmission and reception. Basically, all this is just years and years of communication protocols and try to coding and decoding the information through the LED infrared. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is that what we changed on this code was lines 32 to 36. And what I'm going to do is that there is a built-in LED, which is pin 13, of course. So we know that just by connecting our Arduino, that the red LED is the built-in LED, which is pin 13. Then it also brings a relay pin that's going to help us kind of like turn on, turn off something specifically. Okay, now we're going to do first our code with the RGB. We've used the RGB LED before, and we're going to start playing with it because we have, a huge variety of colors. And I'm going to create another line called pin mode, which just gives me telling the 9, the 10, and 11 are outputs. And remember that if I declare these 3 pins as outputs, I can connect the RGB, and they're connected to that, where 9 is red, 10 is green, and 11 is blue. So we're going to remember those 3 pins on our shield because those are the ones that we're going to manipulate in order to see the different codes that we get. Okay, then I activate the serial begin, which is basically the serial monitor, so we can communicate and see what the Arduino is listening to. Okay, basically all this information right here is also for the Arduino to stop and start listening to any incoming information. Okay, now on the void loop portion of our code, it just has a couple of conditions, and it detects something. It can be any type of information. It doesn't matter if it's any of the numbers that you press in the remote control is going to do this. So we're not gonna worry about this yet, because this just receives any type of information and kind of like turns on an LED or the relay or any light bulb in your house, like whatever you want to do. It receives all the any type of information, and it will just switch the relay. It will turn on or turn off, and we're gonna see that in a minute. So the void loop, we're going to leave it as it is, but I want to concentrate and I want to focus on this portion of the code, which is the void dump. And here's where all the decoding happens, okay? Here I have several methods or functions that allow me to see what is exactly what I'm receiving. Okay, so basically when I see the serial monitor, I'm going to see the results that are sent when I press the button on the remote control. Okay, now what I did is that on the bottom part, I added some code. Okay, and I created a variable called value. So I just want to get the value that the Arduino is receiving. So I use this function called IrReceiver.results.value, and it will give me a value in a decimal number. Now this decimal number is the one that I want you guys to determine, okay, and see. Now every remote control, depending on the brand, it will give you certain values, okay? So you guys are going to have to change the value on this line of code, on line 107, depending on what you want to do. Now you're going to get different types of values, so you can create as many types of, or as many conditions as you want. The important thing is that you understand what the Arduino is reading. Now I created a serial print called enter, so I know that it's entering this conditional statement just because I created this value, which is for remote control from a Samsung TV. Then when it enters, I turn on the RGB LED. Okay, the RGB LED, as you can see, it's going to turn blue. Oh yeah, because the 9 is red, 10 is blue, and 11 is green. Okay, so basically that's what I did. And then otherwise, it will just turn off the RGB. As you can see, all of them are in 0. Okay, so let's go and see what our Arduino is receiving right now, and kind of like how the serial monitor works. When I open the serial monitor, I'm going to see that it has a message saying that it started, okay, the RC receiver, and it's ready to receive infrared signals at pin 6, okay, at pin 6 on the Arduino. Now, when I press a button on my remote control, I'm going to get it says, what is the protocol? It is the protocol called Samsung, and the protocol Samsung, it's because it's a Samsung TV, you might get a NEC, or you might get an LG. There are many types of protocols, and every brand has some sort of protocol that it's using, okay? Then it tells me what is the data that I send over 30, and it's equivalent to 32 bits, and it just gives me the raw information of all the stream, okay? Now this raw information translates into a number that it's minus 4081. Now I'm going to press another button on my remote control, and it automatically detects what is the protocol again and the number, okay? So the number is 5,865. This is a decimal number, and it says entered, and the RGB pin is going to turn on, okay? Now when I press another button, then the RGB turns off because it's a different value. Okay, so this is something really cool. Imagine that you can just control absolutely anything with your remote control of your TV. You can have a servo motor, you can close the window shades, or you can just turn on your coffee maker, or you can just turn on absolutely anything, or water your plants, or do anything in your household just by a simple remote control. So this is something really interesting. We decoded all the information from the infrared sensor, and now we have a value in a decimal number, and we can do all sorts of things with a value in a decimal number. It is your turn to decode what are the numbers given by your remote control, and I want you guys to explain on a video how you did this and why do you think this is so important. And what are the other applications or different applications that you can use this for, okay? Lastly, I wanted to show you what if I use another remote control. And now I'm using an LG TV remote control, and when I press a button on that remote control, it's going to show me another protocol, and this time is NEC, which is a very worldwide general protocol of communication protocol, and it gives me another number. Now I can use different types of remote controls with the same Arduino. Imagine that they give you different types of numbers, all of them in different ranges. So what you want to do is that you can have any number of controls with all of them sending different signals, and you can create as many conditions as you want.